Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. This is the Aston Villa Premier League preview brought to you by BetMate. We'll get into that a little bit later on. I am joined by two absolute titans of the Manchester United fan base. I've got Mr. Joe Smith. How are we doing, brother?
Very well. How are you?
You're looking very smart, man.
Thank you.
I'm good because you look smart.
Thanks.
Yeah? And also, all the way over from America, United States of, Mr. John Shin. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you look... all right. Anyway, we'll get straight into it. Manchester United go into this game at Villa Park in a decent bit of form following that horror show at Brentford where we lost 4-0. We've had 12 wins, 2 losses and 2 draws. So that's quite decent form, especially when you consider, how low we fell after that defeat I mentioned earlier. Joe, what have you made of United's form of late under Erik ten Hag and his... Can we say mini revolution?
Well, yeah, I think we can. I think it's been excellent. Obviously, the City game was the one big sort of, terrible result in those 14 games. The other loss was at home to Sociedad, which I thought we were unlucky. It was a lucky penalty that they got. It shouldn't have been a penalty. The ball hit Martinez's thigh before it hit his arm, which by the rules, therefore, shouldn't be a penalty. Anyway, we don't have to go into that. But those 12 wins... all of them have been deserved. We haven't had really anywhere you go, oh, I can't believe we won that. Wow.
No.
The 2 draws, the Chelsea draw, the Newcastle draw, we were the better team in both games. Like, I know some of them were late wins or, the Ammonia game or the Sheriff game, but where we struggled, but we certainly deserved to win them all. We're getting to a point where we play decent teams and we deserve to beat them, and we beat them. Like beating Arsenal, beating Liverpool, beating Tottenham in there as well. With Tottenham was the
phenomenal.
best performance I've seen from United in years.
I agree.
This is some proper form from Man United now. After those first 2 games where it felt like it's going to be the same as last season, we're actually seeing what to me is the makings of a really decent, proper team. I know that the win in Sociedad was a little bit marred by the fact that it didn't get us top of the group, but we still went to Spain and beat Real Sociedad in the Europa League. So I'm really happy with the form. I can't believe how much change we've already seen under Ten Hag, and I'm just excited to see where it goes.
One player who's been an integral part of that run of good form has been Bruno Fernandes. Now, we know he's not available for this game. I think he's accumulated enough bookings, so he's suspended. I think he's played every minute of the Premier League under Erik ten Hag, which is, just shows you not only how important he is, how fit he is. How much of a loss do you think Bruno Fernandes will be to this team going into the weekend's game?
If this was under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I would be gravely concerned. There's always an over-reliance and over-dependence on those key figures to perform. But in this sort of system under Erik ten Hag, I think the style of play, Joe mentioned that every game that we won, it felt deserved. And one of the reasons as to why it felt deserved was because there was a systemic approach to how we built up the rhythm, found the momentum, got the goals. And I think Bruno Fernandes, while he has been instrumental in those situations, and of course, in any team, Bruno is going to be obviously a miss, I think we still have the proper players at Erik ten Hag's disposal to get the result and perform. And I think that speaks to volumes to Erik ten Hag's qualities as a manager. And I think, yes, we're going to miss Bruno, but if anything, I think this is a good opportunity for him to get some rest.
Just quickly on that, Joe, what do you make of it? Because like John was saying, under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Bruno Fernandes at one point was sort of carrying the team, it felt like anyway. Right. Now he is sort of an important cog in a machine, but he is important. Do you think United will be okay? We'll get to the predicted 11s in a minute, but do you think we can sort of replace him and still be good enough to beat Villa?
I hope so. We've seen Eriksen not play games and us still win games. Against Tottenham was one where Fred came in and was excellent, I thought. We've seen Casemiro not play and we still win games. We haven't seen Bruno not play and us still win games.
Yeah.
That's not because we lose every time he doesn't play, but because he hasn't not played yet. So that's my only concern is where does the danger come from? Where does the chance creation? Where does that feeling that something might happen on the edge of the 18-yard box? Who brings that now? Because Eriksen can do it, but then that means moving him forward. Then you've got to bring Fred. United have got a very good 3 midfielders.
Yeah.
Bruno is excellent at number 10. Eriksen is an excellent number 8. Casemiro is a phenomenal number 6. Yeah. But when you take any one of those pieces out, the replacement is noticeably worse. Yeah. So that's my only thing. But I agree with John in that we've got a system now where we play to that system, and that brings its own rewards almost no matter who does it. Obviously, there are better and worse versions of it, but I think we can still survive without Bruno Fernandes.
Well, on that front then, let's get into the predicted teams. Yeah. Let's start with yours then, Joe. The back four or back five, I don't think we need to go into too much detail.
Say no more, innit?
Yeah, Maguire came in because I think Lindelof wasn't available for West Ham. He prefers him. We saw that in for the Sociedad game, and he did. He's done well when he has come in, so that makes sense. In midfield, we know we've got no Bruno. You've gone with Fred. Just explain why.
I think the other alternatives were McTominay, and I don't think McTominay and Casemiro work in tandem. They don't supplement each other very well. I think Fred does, and the other option would be Donny van der Beek, who, once again. Didn't have a great performance against Real Sociedad, was brought off relatively early. I think it was 55th minute or something like that. There's no reason to play him over Fred, you know what I mean? Which is sad to say, but that's just the state we're in. The one risk I have taken, I've put Martial back in up front.
Yeah, I know it's that.
I don't know if he's fit. I know he's been back training since Monday. I know he's in the squad. I know he should be available. That doesn't mean he'll start, but we need him.
Yeah.
And if he is fit, if he has been training, if he is available, I think we have to start him because the whole system looks different. Everything looks different with Ronaldo playing to what we saw in pre-season. I know pre-season is a quarter of what full football is, but you could just see the shapes, the patterns, the way we played through our attack was so much different and so much better with Martial. So if he's remotely available, he's got to start.
Really? Because the only reason I say that remotely available is there not a danger that he might not be 100% and we're risking it.
There is that danger, but then also we've got 1 week until the World Cup starts. He's got 4 weeks off then, hasn't he? So even if he's half fit, you've got 6 weeks during the World Cup, so play him.
Right, fair enough. My team isn't too dissimilar, so we'll get to mine, then we'll get to yours, John. I've gone with Fred again in midfield. Him and Casemiro played together for the country. I know it's not, there's still a couple of question marks there about Fred and just how he can fill that role and he's a bit of a erratic figure, shall we say, for Manchester United, but I don't think it's too sort of left field to put him in there. And obviously, this is a predicted team. I've gone with Rashford, Ronaldo, and Elanga. I've just played it safe in terms of who's available.
Yeah.
Because there's question marks over Sancho, Martial, and Antony. We don't know. I mean, by the time you're watching this, we may well know, but at this time of recording it, we don't. So I've just gone. We know Elanga's fit, we know Rashford's fit, we know Ronaldo's fit. Now, Elanga didn't exactly cover himself in glory against West Ham, although Erik ten Hag praised him after it. I do feel like he's an okay option, though. Yeah. And I feel like if he's available, Erik ten Hag, could give him a chance. I don't see him playing Garnacho twice in 3 days or whatever it is, because despite the fact he's ace, he's still only young, and I think you've got to sort of use him in the right way. So that's my predicted 11. John, let's have a look at yours. Obviously, I've gone with pretty much the same back five as Joe. And so have you. You've gone in there with Victor Lindelof minus, so that makes sense.
It's just that one position, the change there, isn't it? Right. The difference between yours is you've gone Sancho and you've got Elanga.
And again, I think my sort of thinking was, do we know if Sancho is fit? I'm not so sure. I don't know what's quite going on there. If he is fit, though, for you, he's in.
100%. I mean, if I'm bald and I'm sitting in Erik ten Hag's shoes, I'm thinking, who do I start over Sancho or Elanga? And yes, he did praise him a little bit and said that he had a decent performance, but I think Jadon Sancho slots back in. I'm more so fully convinced that Ronaldo will be starting, even if Martial is fit. And I agree with Joe. I think Martial needs to start. I think we're a lot more dynamic and a lot more direct when we have Martial, and that's crazy to say, if you guys know, oh my goodness, for me to praise Martial, but he has been effective. And while I would love to see him start, I think Ronaldo is just going to obviously get the nod right now, and that midfield speaks for itself. I think McTominay, he's going to invite a little bit of too much pressure, and I think as much as I'd rather see Bruno in that slot, Fred's the next best pick.
Yeah, I think it all kind of makes sense. Should we talk about the opposition then?
Fucking new manager bounce. Why couldn't we blast the back doors off Steven Gerrard, send him packing? Imagine how good that would have been. Walking into Old Trafford, turning around like that's anything. But the final days of Steven Gerrard, walking back to the dugout, head down after that Thursday night smashing in the League Cup. How good would that have been?
Yeah.
Instead, we get to face Unai beat you in the Europa League final, fucking Emery, and we have to play a good manager. How is that fair?
And no, it isn't. Right, let's get into this. Like I said earlier, this preview is brought to you in association with BetMate, sponsored by BetMate. And this, Joe, Talk us through BetMate. Tell us a little
Well,
bit about
BetMate
them.
is a fantasy football app where you're not playing against the bookies.
Yep.
You're not playing against some grim overlord. You're playing against each other. Yeah. If I think my team's better than yours, which it always is, Jay, then I beat you.
To be fair,
It's
you
that
have
simple.
won
Jay,
250
I won the
quid.
pot.
You
I
won
finished
the
first.
pot.
I won
He did.
250
He
quid.
did.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you want to win 250 quid at home, enter our free pot this week. It's free. It's literally free to enter. And you get £100 if you win it. All you have to do, go on the app, press join, use the code Paddock, and you can enter our pot for free. Simple. It's not like other fantasy stuff, Jay.
No, it's not.
You get points for interceptions, points for tackles, points for loads of stuff. God!
Yeah, the stats are powered by Opta, so you know they're on the ball. Like Joe said there, you can bet, you can see the graphic there. You'll be able to see, you know, how you can join using the code Paddock. Let's get into our BetMate teams then. Let's first of all, let's have a look at yours, Joe.
Yeah, the winning team. You're allowed to pick six. You pick 6 players, 7 players. You're allowed to pick 6 from one team.
One player that I'll just talk about quickly is Leon Bailey. You picked him. He was linked with United. Do you remember me and you spoke to Simon Preston, the Jamaican scout, about him? He's having a decent season, a couple of goals, a couple of assists. You've put him in there. Do you think he could cause us problems?
The thing you got to remember is no one is having a good season for Aston Villa. I think they're 1 point above the bottom 3. They're in 15th or 16th. Like, they're having a terrible year. You've got to be bad when you're getting sacked as the manager of Aston Villa after 12 games. Yeah. So no one has got good stats for Aston Villa. I think he's a dangerous player. I think he's a good player. And I think he might be, you know, if anyone's going to score a goal against us, which I hope they don't, I think it's probably going to be him.
Just move on to my team there, because there's a couple of differences. One difference is I've got Lisandro Martinez in my team. Now, his stats this season have been phenomenal. I think his clearance is the highest in the United squad. His blocks is the highest in the United squad. Interceptions, I think he's the second highest in the United squad. He's a fan's favourite. Yeah. I mean, the guy's just mint, isn't he?
He's just phenomenal. I think he's been the best defender in the Premier League this season. Certainly the best centre-back. Yeah. Like, he's not put a foot wrong, honestly. And not just has he not put a foot wrong, you know, just ticking the boxes. He's been outwardly fantastic. So you've got to put him in straight away. Yeah,
I've put him in there, even though you didn't.
I don't need him, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Just goes to show one of us is a proper United fan. Right. With all that being said, let's have our score predictions. John, we'll start with you. What's the score going to be? And don't lie to me.
I think we'll be able to walk away with a comfortable win here. I'm going to go 3-0.
Love that.
Love that. Confidence and honesty. Two of my favourite things. Go on.
Surely he can't have got on playing well already. But I don't think we'll beat him twice in a week. So which one do I want to lose? I'll lose the League Cup over losing this. I think if I had to pick one. So I'm going to go win. Manchester United 2, Aston Villa 0.
I think we can do the double over.
I love to.
The 16th for a reason. I know he's a good manager, Unai Emery, but they're not an amazing group of players. You've got some decent players. I'm with John. I think we can win this. I think that we can win this quite comfortably. So I'll go with 2-0. I'll go with a 2-0 win. Get involved in the comments in the chat. Let us know what you think about our score predictions, what you think about our predicted 11s. Big thanks to BetMate. Go and check out them. There's a link in the description. Don't forget as well to get involved with that. Joe, where can people find you?
Joe Smith 93, Instagram, Twitter. Find it. Love it.
John, where can people find you?
Twitter, Mr. John Shin. YouTube, Good Vibes John.
Yes, go and
link
check
to
out
that is
John.
in the description as well for John's YouTube channel, so check him out.
This has been the Aston Villa preview with John Shin and Joe Smith and me, Jay Motti. Thanks for watching.